Welcome back to Silencer Recaps. In today's video, I will explain an action horror film titled The Breed, released in 2006. Spoilers ahead, watch out and take care. The movie kicks off with a couple sailing in their boat in the middle of the ocean. They've both been drinking too much, and that's how they ended up hopelessly lost in the sea. Eventually, they spot a big island in the distance. With no better options, they head for it, hoping to find help. Once they reach the island, the woman decides to go search for someone, while her boyfriend stays back to tie up the boat. She heads into the forest and stumbles across this creepy, fenced-off facility, fenced with barbed wire. She starts shouting for help, but nobody answers, so she turns back toward the boat. As she's making her way back, weird noises start whispering from the trees. She panics, convinced wild animals are hunting her, and rushes through the woods. She screams for her boyfriend, but he's too far away to hear her. Realizing she's on her own, she tries to run again, only to get grabbed by some kind of creature. She fights, clinging to a tree, but the creature bites her fingers. Eventually, she just can't fight anymore and has given up. But before that, for this channel to continue uploading, I really need your help by subscribing to this channel. Tapping that subscribe button means a lot to us. Years later, brothers Matt and John fly out to the same island with their childhood friends Noah, Sarah, and Nicki, who's dating Matt. It turns out, their uncle used to live on the island back when people actually lived here. The group hasn't been back in ages, so they decide to spend a weekend at an abandoned house, just to get away from it all. When they arrive, Matt and John head straight for the garage to check out the generator and see if their uncle's old car still runs. Somehow it does. Inside, Sarah and Noah get busy gathering supplies and mixing up a special drink to celebrate their arrival. As soon as Matt and John fix the generator, Sarah turns on the blender, but the power cuts out almost immediately. The house plunges into darkness. With only a lighter to guide them, Sarah and Noah head to the basement to check the fuse. Down there, they stumble on a dusty old wine cellar stacked with bottles, so Noah grabs a few. Power restored, Sarah starts making drinks, and everyone dives into partying. After swimming for a while, the group hangs out on the balcony, watching John shoot targets with his bow. Suddenly, a little puppy pops out of the grass. The friends are instantly smitten. Later that night, once everyone's had plenty to drink, Noah heads to the kitchen to open a bottle of wine from the basement. The puppy follows him, but as Noah pops the cork, the dog's whole vibe shifts. It starts growling, as if it's enraged. Noah goes back to the living room to tell the others, and the puppy bolts outside through a hole and disappears into the yard. Sarah, who's already attached to the puppy, insists on finding it. John goes with her, flashlight in hand. They spot the puppy, but as they get close, a large dog jumps out and attacks Sarah, biting her leg before running off with the puppy. Now everyone's worried. Maybe the dog has rabies, so Matt and Nicki decide to leave the next morning to get Sarah treated. John disagrees, thinking the bite wasn't serious and the dog was just protecting its pup, but says it's up to Sarah. He doesn't want to ruin their weekend over it. Later that night, John wakes up thirsty and heads to the kitchen. He finds Sarah standing at the window, just staring out into the darkness. When he tried talking to the woman, she just ignored him and started walking right toward him. The moment she got close, she kissed him, way too hard that it actually hurt him. John grumbled about it, and suddenly something seemed to snap in her, and she told him to leave. The next morning, everyone gathered for breakfast. Sarah tore through her food like she hadn't eaten in days. When they finished eating, John grabbed his bow and arrows, planning to do some target shooting in the woods. He invited the other guys along, mostly because they were bored. Nicki decided to hang back with Sarah. Out in the forest, the men didn't see any animals. With nothing happening, Noah wandered away from the group and sat on a tree to clean his camera. As he wiped the lens, he started hearing strange noises around him. The sound freaked him out. He looked for the source and quickly realized he was surrounded by dozens of dogs, all closing in. Panicking, Noah escaped, racing through the trees until he tripped over a root. He lay there, breathless, until his friends finally found him. When Noah told them about the dogs, a man, the one who came to the island with her girlfriend, suddenly appeared. He warned them that the dogs hated strangers on the island. But before she could explain, a huge dog lunged at him, knocked him down the hill, and ate him whole, along with his pack. The three men sprinted back toward the house, terrified. As they got closer, they saw that the place was being surrounded by dogs, and they warned the women. In the midst of the chaos, one of the dogs bit Nicki's leg. John reloads his bow, aiming for the dog, but his arrow strikes the girl's leg instead. She screamed in pain, but the dog finally backed off. Once inside, Matt snapped the arrow with pliers and started patching her up. While he wrapped the bandages, he tried to process what was happening. He told his friends why the place had been left to rot. Years ago, a company built a kennel here to train guide dogs for the blind. Then one dog caught rabies. With all the animals stuck together in one place, the disease spread fast. The infected dogs escaped, and the place was abandoned. Now Matt wondered how these dogs could have survived so long with rabies. Hearing this, Noah freaked out. His shouts drew a dog that crashed through the window and pinned him to the floor. The animal lunged at Sarah next, but Matt jumped in and stopped it. By now, everyone knew the house wasn't safe. They grabbed their stuff, and as they left, they spotted two wild dogs on the pier, right where their airplane had been tied up. Matt suggested waiting it out, but after a while, Noah peeked outside and saw the plane drifting away. The dogs had chewed through the rope. With no sign of the dogs, the group moved silently to the pier. John dove into the water, swimming for the plane, but it turns out that the two wild dogs are actually clinging to the wing. The dogs jumped in after John, who barely made it back to the pier in time. Once everyone regrouped, another dog attacked, but Noah fought it off with a baseball bat. They rushed back to the house, barely dodging more dogs on the way. Realizing how relentless the animals were, the group boarded up the windows and any gaps they could find. Noah tried calling for help, but he got nothing. No signal at all. Matt and John wrapped the dead dog, the one that attacked Sarah, in a cloth and tossed it outside. The group knew they had to get to the other side of the island to get to the boat there, their only real shot at getting out alive. Once they had a plan, the guys headed for the garage, hoping they could bring the old car back to life. But the second they stepped outside, a pack of vicious dogs tore the dead animal the brothers had thrown out earlier. The three of them ran back inside, hearts pounding, and started hashing out a new plan. Matt figured he could reach the garage if he used the rope strung between the two buildings. But first, he needed the pulley that was still sitting out on the zip line. He waited until the dogs were distracted and sprinted for it. Of course, just as he grabbed the pulley, one of the dogs caught sight of him, but he managed to make it back inside, breathless but safe. Next, Matt rigged the pulley to the rope leading to the garage. Nicki was injured, but Matt convinced her, since she was the lightest, she should be the one to check out the car. When they were set, Nicki slid down the rope and reached the garage. But the hungry dogs spotted her swinging and charged over. While her friends did what they could to keep the dogs away, Nicki climbed into the car and desperately tried to start it. The engine was dead. Nothing. The dogs started clawing through the gate. Nicki scrambled up through the sunroof, clinging to the rafters to avoid being eaten by the hungry dogs. Her friends managed to pull her back to safety just in time. And as the dogs lunged, John fired his bow and took one down, saving Nicki. That night, the lights suddenly went out. Noah figured it was just a blown fuse and volunteered to fix it. He moved slowly to the basement, flashlight shaking, and started hearing weird noises from a corner where a creepy doll hung by the door. He moved slowly and closer, but out of nowhere, a dog lunged and grabbed him by the neck. The others heard the chaos, but by the time Matt and John got downstairs, Noah was already gone. They locked the door behind them, but it barely slowed the dogs. Outside, the pack went wild, smashing through the window. The group ran upstairs, racing for the attic. Matt didn't make it. One of the dogs got him, biting hard, but John yanked him free. They all seek refuge into the attic, and the dogs are now swarming the house below. Supplies were running low, and they had to get out fast. At sunrise, they crawled out of the attic and found the house empty. Dogs had left. The brothers hurried to the garage. John jumped behind the wheel while Matt pushed the car, and somehow, it came back to life. But because of the noise it creates, the pack of dogs manages to find them. Matt scrambled onto the roof, bow in hand, firing at the pack as they closed in. One dog leapt up and crashed into the car, making John swerve and causing Matt to drop his bow. As the car engine starts to malfunction again, John steers the car towards a ravine, hoping for a miracle. The car almost tumbled over the edge, but it worked. It started again and sped off. On the way home, a German shepherd burst through the window, snapping at Matt. John sped up the car, moving it near a pole, and the dog crashed into the pole. When they finally made it back, they found Sarah had given up, unwilling to run anymore. John tried to talk to her, but then another dog appeared. Sarah, determined to end it, told John to escape through the window while she faced the beast. He hesitated, but obeyed. In the end, Sarah tried to throw the dog out of the window, but both of them fell instead, dying on the sharp wood below. When they realized they couldn't do anything else for their friend, the three of them jumped in the car and sped off to the other side of the island. Behind them, hungry dogs tore into the impaled body. They didn't look back. At the facility, they hoped to call for help, but the place wasn't what they expected at all. It wasn't some guide dog training center. No, this was a lab, and they were messing with animal genes, turning regular creatures into combat monsters. The animals weren't rabid. They were just so altered, no one could control them anymore. They found the radio, but Nicki spotted trouble right away. Out of the window, she saw the transmitter tower's line completely destroyed. John didn't hesitate. "I'll fix it," he said, and went outside. As he climbed up, Nicki caught sight of a boat, the same one from the couple who got lost on the island, tied up nearby. When John signaled, Nicki fired up the amplifier to boost the radio's range. But as soon as she hit the button, sparks flew. The wiring caught fire, and John got zapped. He tumbled from the top of the tower. The flames took off, and the dogs, relentless as ever, dug their way inside and went after John, biting him over and over. Matt saw his brother getting mauled, so he grabbed a baseball bat and sprinted to help. Inside, Nicki twisted open a gas cylinder, letting the room fill with fumes. She let the dogs come in, waited until the air was thick with gas, then flung the door open. The fire hit the gas, and the whole place exploded, torching every dog inside. Meanwhile, outside, Matt and John were cornered, surrounded by snarling dogs. It looked hopeless, until Nicki came in with a car, mowing down the pack. The three of them didn't waste a second. They raced to the dock, drove the car straight into the water, and scrambled out as the vehicle sank. The dogs closed in, but the group made it to the dock, climbed aboard the boat. As they sailed away, they looked back and saw the animals watching them from the shore. But out at sea, just when they thought they were safe, they realized they had another dog with them. And that's where the film cuts to black. Make sure to subscribe and turn on the notification bell to watch more videos like this. Thanks for watching.